Think for your goddamn selves, which you're not doing. All right. Nah, I'm getting tired. Dude had people keep responding, talking about it's biased and all this shit, especially after they've been on and had 3 fucking hours to get whatever they want out. So now, hopefully he'll show up. It'll be me and him. So maybe he'll show up. So what's going on, ladies? I'm actually getting rather tired of this stuff. This slavery is a choice, is a dog whistle. You have people on the continent. Yeah, they're not thinking for themselves. They're not thinking for themselves, Rihanna. Slavery has never been a choice. Slavery's been around for 11,000 years, and nobody except Black American people, as well as recent Black American people, say slavery was a choice. It's like all of a sudden, well, I will listen to Claude Anderson. If Black folks had resisted the Europeans, okay, then they would have never been in slavery. Slavery was going on the continent of Africa well before the Europeans even fucking showed up. Slavery has been all over the world. Everybody's been enslaved. All groups. Every last group has been enslaved in some shape, form, or fashion. And if it wasn't slavery, it was near slavery, which is serfdom, where you got tied to the land. Hey, One Punch Me. And that's what people don't understand. Just like uh, they say, well, the Syrians could have resisted the Americans, or the Libyans could have resisted the Americans. You get driven off the land, and you get forced to do things. You're forced into slavery. It's not a choice. Of course, he wouldn't say it was a choice because he knows better. Oh well, yeah, because it got connected with uh, with the Industrial Revolution. So it's a different twist on slavery. The British people themselves were enslaved by the Romans. It's nothing new. They hauled the Brits all the way down to Rome to be enslaved. Everybody's had that taste. The Scottish, the Irish, all those people have had that taste. Um, Jim Crow was based off of serfdom, European serfdom, with the landlords and being tied to the land. There's nothing new under the sun. We've talked about this. We did a 5 hour hangout on this stuff yesterday. 5 hours. The whole 5 hour hangout on this stuff. And what the thing is that the millennials don't realize this is the dog whistle. In other words, you are basically adopting the white people's stance. So I'm saying is, if that's the way if that's the way millennials are gonna think, just cut to the chase and say slavery never existed. No, well, yeah, it's was actual slavery still does exist in the world, just not in the form because you don't need the same kind of human labor anymore. So it doesn't exist the way it once did. Yeah, written books written by whites. Exactly. And that's basically that's so what Kanye West didn't bother me. The thing is that Kanye West, all he does is expose the kind of brainwashing that's already been done. Yeah, we don't have slavery deniers. Exactly. Why not? You know what? Was just skip to the chase and say it never existed. Well, I'm not saying all millennials. What I'm saying is you can hear you. What I'm hearing it too much. So what it's telling me, it's not necessarily coons. It means that you've been socialized or brainwashed into thinking that it never existed. And the next group of kids will say that slavery, that the slaves were immigrants, which they're already trying to put in the books already. That they volunteered to get on the boats. That's what's going to happen. So I'm saying, why not just cut to the chase? If this is what they want to think, just say it never existed. Well, because white folks don't want to go down in history uh, with their actions, just like they try to say that the Native American genocide never happened. Yeah, well, I know they do. I don't even take well those dudes. I don't even take them seriously. They're trying to say they were already here. I don't know what negative BGS means. But if you believe that slavery was a choice, Eden Charles, why don't you just cut to the chase and say it never existed? Just cut to the chase. Forget it. Stop all this, the intermediary steps. The Moors say it too, that slavery never existed. They said the Moors said it was a choice. When you say the Moors, who you talk about? The real Moors? You're talking about the who the white people call Moors, because there's two different groups. Because you guys take bits and there's an old saying, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. You guys take bits and pieces of what people say, and then you try to extrapolate instead of knowing what you're talking about. The Moors don't say that because the Moors actually helped enslave people. Where you think the Arab? What do you think? Where you think the Arabic slave trade actually came from? They took people back and forth. In fact, um, that's why I love Daughters of the Trade, because she will actually breaks it down. Okay, white people could not live on that continent. They could not go into the interior Africa and bring slaves out. They had to depend on the trade that already existed. So saying that I was listening to Claude Anderson, and I love Claude Anderson, but he was fucking wrong. Okay, white people didn't go into the interior and pull people out. Okay, uh, one tribe enslaved another and sold them off. That's what happened. That's what a lot of black people don't want to deal with. Africans know, and Rihanna can tell you, Africans know there is no monolithic black land, just like there is no monolithic Europe. Europeans sold each other into slavery, just like the Germans enslaved um, Eastern Europeans. The name slave comes from Eastern Europe. Yeah, Claude Ansel, he was wrong. People can be wrong. Because when I was coming up, they told me that that white people went into the interior and hauled black folks off. No, they didn't. They were actually sold by other tribes. Well, because Europeans got dominated by the continent. Yeah, well, yeah, anywhere but Africa. Well, basically, the Hebrew Israel, the Hebrews were actually uh, they were actually immigrants. They were actually like Mexicans. The Bedouins. The Hebrews are nothing but Bedouins. Okay, they sheep herders. That's how come they call them the Hyksos, shepherd people. They're sheep herders. They're immigrants. And basically the Arabs and the Bedouins and the Hebrews are all in the same group. They basically they're migrant people. Is Claude Anderson on wrong on anything else? We're not talking about Claude Anderson right now. There's things I disagree with Claude Anderson on, Mr. Black Culture. Why don't you go find out yourself, Mr. Black Culture? Really? Really, Archer J. Well, Archer J, if you don't think it's that big of a deal, why don't you go back and experience it for yourself? You don't think it was that big of a deal? Are you fucking kidding me, Archer J? You're excused, Mr. Black Culture. I'm not for this shit today, all right? If you're not mistaken, a Roman and a German met a Viking on an island that was like, what the hell are you talking about, man? What are you talking about, Ryan James? You guys be pulling stuff. I don't know where you guys be pulling stuff out. Yeah, well, yeah, well, there are people still enslaved in 2018 in various parts of the world. You are Archie J. Please knock it off. Yeah, some people are more if he's going to show up. Let me go find that uh, so I actually uh, get him here and get this out of the way because I'm not going to deal with it anymore because it's actually stupid. Now, I hate people coming back talking about it was biased after you've been on for 3 hours. I really do. And I'd hate, that's the only thing I hate about a panel is because people can hide in a panel. And as soon, because everybody's trying to speak over it, everybody's trying to pontificate. So people hide in the panel. But when you get them by themselves, then they expose themselves. No, Kev had his moment. Okay, Kev is not gonna. I'm not gonna waste any more time with Kev. Kev. I don't have time to raise a 30-year-old child. I got 30-year-old children right now. I'm trying to raise, and those I have to raise them because those belong to me. My 30-year-old children are my fuck up. So I got to correct my own mistakes, but I'm not gonna correct the other people's mistakes. Now, what I'm saying is one thing I'm glad about the Kanye West thing, about what he said, is because he's exposing what's already there. Because I didn't think that the brainwashing was as pervasive as it is. And what Kanye West is showing me that the brainwashing is as pervasive as it is. Or, what Anderson said was if black folks had resisted and not sold, it's not given in to white people and put those other Africans on the boat, we never would have been here, which is true. But the thing is that that's what they call the slave trade. But the people on the boat didn't have a choice, and nobody on the planet that's ever been enslaved would say that slavery is a choice ever. Only black people say that. No, when it's not even coons. It's what the thing is that it's brainwashing. You know, if you basically assimilation is about more about brainwashing and bringing you into the fold than anything else. And the schools are about the Pressing school system about brain. I keep saying this over and over again. I'm tired. I'm actually tired of repeating myself. If the reason you guys don't take in the information is because you don't believe it. I keep talking about the Prussian school system and investigating. Nobody's going to investigate it because nobody believes it. You're perfectly happy with being brainwashed, which I don't. I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with black folks being assimilated. It'll solve a problem. Black people say they have a problem with being assimilated. And if I don't want to be assimilated, my family be assimilated, I'll just move because we have that option. Being hung is not an option. Being disappeared is not an option. Being killed is not an option. Okay, if it's between being assimilated and being hung, I'll take assimilation. Well, I know you believe it, BJ. Well, yeah, if you don't want them to be brainwashed, but yeah, you don't send them to an American school. Thank you, Pollard. No, that's the dude's. No, when I put that up, then I'm calling out a particular guy because I want him by himself. Some people don't won't go away. He says we're biased. So so now I'm gonna put now just like I did Kev, which I should have done with him, which I couldn't do because it was an open hangout. Just get him by himself because the thing is, you get an open hangout, people won't shut up, and people won't shut up. Then you can't bring the truth out of a particular person or put them on the spot because people get emotional and start yelling, and then that just confuses the whole thing. But like Kev, once I get Kev by himself, he cooked him on. He cooked his own self. Hey, Dalia, thanks, Nasiana. Now, basically, the white school is white indoctrination. It doesn't matter the language that you speak. The language that you speak has nothing to do with it. There's a certain if you take them out of the Prussian school system and you inject what you want into the heads of those children. They've said it a long time ago. You give me the child at 7, I give you the man. Hey Ray, what's going on? No, I'm not doing. Basically, I have a guy. He was actually on a hangout for 3 hours trying to get his point across, and he keeps commenting. So I'm giving him a chance. He doesn't think he was heard, so I'm gonna give him a chance to be heard. That's like when people like to show up on panels. When I call them not by themselves, they don't show up. How do we go about it? If you want, if basically if you want to be here in the United States, and I've said this, um, if you're going to be here in the United States, you're going to be assimilated. Period. They're breaking up your neighborhoods. In fact, the piece that just played about teachable moments is because they're putting you in white spaces, or they're putting white people in your space. In other words, um, there is no such thing. There won't be any such thing as a black neighborhood or black ghetto anymore because they're going to break them up and they're going to push you. They're going to mix you by your socioeconomic class rather than by your race. And so you're going to have a lot more friction, which is something I said. Well, me and Big Jason Black were going back and forth with that about 3, 4 years ago, right before he put in gentrified. There's going to be friction between white people and black people because this is forced assimilation. Anytime you try to force assimilation, force two groups to mix, there's going to be friction. So all this stuff with the Starbucks and the gyms and like she said, Lee said in Harlem, when he's trying to move into his apartment, the police got called, or the Native Americans trying to on a tour and forcing people to mix, so you're gonna have friction, and you're gonna have to deal with that friction. So if black folks want to stay here, basically you're gonna have to deal with that friction because the United States government's not gonna stop. They are going to force you to mix. So you think you're going to have this like nice little black uh, uh, enclave somewhere, wherever you think it is, and you think you're going to, I'm good for me, my kids, my grandkids. Man, they're going to come and break that shit up. They're going to break it up. Just like my neighborhood. This has been a solidly black neighborhood for 45 years. Okay, they're breaking this shit up, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Because they come in, man. Man, there's so many, you know, 10 years ago, man, it's hard to find a cop. Every now and again, you see a cop car. Man, there's so many cop cars flowing up and down, our streets, man. Now helicopters over here. Because I was wondering, man, 10 years ago, why is there so many fucking helicopters flying over my house at night, waking me up at 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning? And then over time, they're trying to pacify this neighborhood so they can bring white folks in. You can ask Officer Faulkner. They're breaking. The only reason that Baltimore's not broken up by now is because they basically Trump came in and kind of pulled some of the money because they're breaking up Baltimore. They want to make Baltimore a mixed neighborhood because there was a law that I think there was a law that they just passed in New York that are actually going to uh, allow the landlords to raise the rents. I got to look that back up again, but I think there was a law that was just passed. In other words, once they get rid of once they get rid of rent control in New York, in New York City, basically it's a wrap. They're gonna move all them black folks out. All them black folks are gone. They got to move someplace else. Hey Abe, what's happening? Hey Calypso, what's happening? Gonna have to start playing the organ, Don. Yeah, they move. Yeah, because they can't afford to live in Los Angeles. You know what the deal is, Kavina, man. That's like you can't live in Pasadena. They can't afford it. Yeah, they created redlining. Basically, once they start refurbishing the vacants, basically Baltimore's a wrap. John Hopkins is trying to buy up Baltimore as we speak. A 10-cent store. Yeah, that's true. No, it's not too hot. It's only like maybe 80. That's about the right temperature for Los Angeles. Oh, have you ever been in Lancaster? Actually, the Chinese are starting to buy up Lancaster. Believe it or not, I got partners out in Lancaster. I haven't been in Lancaster. I haven't been to Lancaster in at least 5 years. I used to have to go out there every weekend. Went out there every weekend for about 4 or 5 years. I had to be out there because my kids were out there. But I don't think I don't know what LAFLQ means, but oh, you in the LBC? Okay. You're in the LBC. Okay. Well, the LBC's already been gentrified, man. Disney came in and started gentrifying Long Beach about no man, it's got to be 20 some odd years ago. 25 years is 20, more than that, almost 30 years ago. Disney came in and started buying up Long Beach, especially downtown Long Beach, where the marina is. So Long Beach has been gentrified a long time. In fact, they were trying to close down the red line after I think it was like 8 o'clock because they didn't want people coming from LA, black people coming from LA into downtown Long Beach. Yeah, well, Lakewood has been gentrified for a long time because I actually went to Long Beach State for a couple years. She studied chemistry at Long Beach State, but Lakewood's been that way for a long time. Lakewood is very white, and Long Beach used to be downtown Long Beach used to be poor whites more than black folks, and black folks. I think black folks still have North Long Beach. If I'm not mistaken. Well, Watts and Compton are Hispanic now. Well, he's not going to show up, so I'm going to jump off because I'm going to be on about 3 hours, and I know we're going to be talking Infinity Wars. No, Lakewood was actually white. I don't know what it is now, but it's actually white. It's been white for a long time. The biggest part of Asian is the San Gabriel Valley. If you really want to see Asia, the Asians actually have a lot of people in Orange County now, from what I'm hearing. But the San Gabriel Valley is dominated by Chinese. And so I think they're spreading out because you have a lot of Chinese money coming in, buying up Orange County and hell, Lancaster, Palmdale, any place in California where they can buy land, they're buying land. Yeah, well, yeah, it's pretty much mixed. But when I was going to school, it was mostly white. So I'm sure that because of the school, it's mixed. Yeah, it is now. It used to be a lot of Hispanics, but now, yeah, I think Orange. I think that the white people are getting upset. The Asians coming in buying up the land and driving white people off. Basically we're talking to a couple of the Chinese guys that were like I think one guy that sold herbs and another guy that sold electronics. They had to move because the rents were too high because the Chinese coming from the mainland actually buying the land up. Yeah, the Chinese have taken over California one bit at a time. Yeah, we're gonna be spoiling it. So if you haven't seen it, either you go see it now or don't be on because it's gonna be weapons free. Infinity War. So if you don't tune in tonight for the hangout if you don't want to spoil it. So it's probably gonna be almost the whole show. No, there aren't any in Los Angeles. There's no more well, but other than Asian enclaves. I think the Asians are pretty solid. I think the Chinese have a pretty solid enclave. Other than that, Baldwin. Well, for now, View Park and Baldwin Hills for now, but that's gonna change pretty rapidly. That's how come Issa Rae was saying on Insecure leave because they're invading, and they're gonna start with actually they're starting to buy out the places in the jungle, and they're moving their way up. Not really. Not really. It's gonna who you assimilate with is gonna be determined by your pocket. If you can afford to live in a certain area, you can assimilate with who you want. But it's going to be mixed because they're going to make it by class instead of race. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I had to ask. I haven't, I haven't done because there used to be one Jamaican food spot over there in Inglewood, um, right off of Market Street. I don't know if it's still up, so I haven't looked because they people go out of business so often. But there used to be a good Jamaican spot there. But go ahead, but Abe, just go hit Groupon and hit Jamaican food. You should find a bunch of them. Oh yeah, well, when they built Fox Hills, then a lot of the Culver City blacks got moved out. You still have some, but you never had a lot of them. Never had a lot of them. Ladera Heights, which is closer to Culver City, was actually solidly upper class black folks. But even that's starting to disappear. Yeah, they probably won't go out without a fight. But the thing is, eventually, um, because if you go into the theater, like you go into what it used to be, it's the Rave Baldwin Hills Theater now. It used to be Magic Johnson. It used to be all black folks, but now may see all kind. Well, because the USC is eventually gonna um, buy up a lot of that stuff. They're actually spreading west now. That's how come they building that line coming that train line going out to Santa Monica. So now the white folks just gonna follow that train line. I go to the Rave Theater Baldwin Hills, and man, there's just as many white and Asians and and whatnot in there as there are black people. So basically, there are really no black areas in Los Angeles anymore. Well, go ahead and give him the name, Covina man. I don't know if he's going to roll out all the way out to Pasadena. It should be a Jamaican spot somewhere near Long Beach, man, because they're out there. Phoenix is a little warm, but yeah, Phoenix is very mixed. In fact, I think Phoenix is only second to Los Angeles as far as there's places that are interracially mixed. Colorado, like Denver, Los Angeles. Well, San Francisco's been that way for a long time. Seattle's mostly white, but Phoenix is extremely mixed, extremely interracial. It depends. It depends. I had to go song by song. I think the Prince and the Revolution were kind of done with after Purple Rain, and I think when I think Prince's the Revolution was done after Purple Rain. I think they said all they could say, and then Prince got booted off actually left the label, and then the New Power Generation was what he formed after the label. He couldn't use the name Prince and the Revolution. Basically, Phoenix is hot and dry, so if you want to move to Arizona, you got to get used to being in the desert because it's a desert. But if I was Rihanna, go to where Nigerians already are, which is Houston. If I was Rihanna, that's where I would go because Houston is a big oil town. They have a lot of have a big Nigerian enclave that would actually help her out. So if I was her, where I would move is Houston or Los Angeles. You have a big Nigerian enclave in Los Angeles. So either LA is expensive, but Houston's cheaper, and you have a bigger a big Nigerian enclave. So if I was Nigerian, that's where I would go first. Yeah, there's a lot in LA, and it's probably going to grow since you have these yuppies. I talked to my boy in Detroit. He sells ginger beer, and he said his bigger, he's a black guy selling ginger beer. His bigger customers are yuppie white folks. They're gonna move. The thing is that my kids can't afford to buy a house in this area anymore. Just they're gonna get locked out unless you're a uh, upscale millennial or upscale Gen Xers is into engineering or programming or something like that, and have some money actually move here. Then it's pretty much a wrap. So most of the millennials are actually getting homes from their parents and grandparents that actually die and leave the house to them. That's the only reason they're still here. But at least they're smart enough not to sell the houses, which they shouldn't have done. A lot of Gen Xers, well, hell, a lot of boomers and a lot of Gen Xers wanted to move to the suburbs, and so they were selling the houses in LA. So that's like a lot of the places around here were actually got moved in by Hispanics because they actually sold the houses and moved out. But I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think the black houses, the people that own houses here that are black, they're actually going to keep them because we get real estate agents all the time knocking on the door. You want to sell your house? You should want to sell your house, and most folks like my age stuff. Nah, we're just going to leave it to the kids because the children won't be able to. Our children will not be able to live if our children didn't live with us, then they wouldn't be able to live here in LA. So a lot of you millennials that are here that are black are living with their parents. And the parents are just going to say, hey, stay here until I kick the bucket and just take over the house. Because if not, you're going to won't be able to live in LA. So, we get offers of, six, $700,000 for the house or something like that. And say, nah, just leave it to the kids. It doesn't make any sense. You can't, it doesn't make any sense. Because hell, you're going to have to spend that money to take care of them anyway. Well, hey, living near the mountains. Okay. That would be, well, there's plenty of mountains to live near, Colorado, Wyoming, depends on where you want to live. I think Los Angeles has the least natural disasters. We don't have any hurricanes, tornadoes, very few. You have floods every now and then in certain places. The only thing we get in Los Angeles is maybe fires. And if depending on the area that you live in. But other than that, no. Actually, have left. Boomers and pre-boomers have left their kids a lot, believe it or not. But they're still alive. Most of the boomers are still alive. I think the last count is that I think like 80% of the boomers are still alive. But as they die off, they're leaving the kids to houses. That's a lot of because I talked to a lot of millennials that are here, and even they're working at say like 99-cent store, McDonald's and stuff like that, and they say they got a house. And say, well, how you get a house? Well, my aunt left it to me, or my mother left it to me, or my whatever left it to me. So in other words, they're leaving them houses because they wouldn't be able to live here. Because a lot of people are retired. A lot of people are retired. A lot of old folks are retired. They could have sold their house and moved someplace else, but then they kept the house because the kids won't be able to live in the city if they don't. So basically, you're stuck. If you care about your kids, you got to leave them in the house. Just basic chemistry. Uh, I didn't finish the program. Just basic chemistry. It's just going to be basic chem, non-organic. So you at Long Beach State, Abe? Oh man, well, we don't even talk about a property tax here. The only thing that's saving a lot of black folks is Proposition 13, where they actually limit the property tax that the state can actually charge on you because white people are losing their houses. Especially white folks were losing their houses back in the day, back in the mid '70s. They actually passed Prop 13, where they can where they have to basically it's like property tax control. If you didn't have that, yeah, it's gonna be open hangout, Craig. It's gonna be an open hangout. I think I might maybe the first hour I'm gonna have artist and MC for the first hour because he's our resident comic book expert. I'm gonna have him for the first hour, but after that anybody can join. Probably gonna be the whole 8 hours, so anybody can join in. Oh, you Cypress College, okay. Oh, you graduated from Fresno State, okay. Well then Dr. Johnson, Dr. Tiasan, right? Since you were up at Fresno State, because I think he's been there for 20 years. Is Cypress College? It's not online, is it, or is it? I'm not sure because I see advertising for Cypress College all the time. If you're in the LBC, why don't you just go to Long Beach State, or is it too expensive? Uh, well, he works. Well, basically, he works in the shop, so he's our resident. He's our resident expert. But if you wanted to, if you want to throw down and take the throne, you know, we can shoot a fair one and may the best man win. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, especially in a Cal State college, man. You're not on campus a lot. Basically, you take your class and you get the fuck out. So I know how that is. Okay, because I see the advertising, so I've never been there. So, but it's a private college, isn't it? Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap because nobody wants to live there, man. Oh yeah, okay. In Vermont, 50,000, but $4,000 in taxes. Yeah. Well, that's probably still cheaper than L.A. because hell, your house note payments are going to be $3,600 a month. So $4,000 a year in tax. Basically, that's not too bad. For Prop 13, well, Prop 13, what our taxes are like $2,500 a year, and that's because it's controlled. If it wasn't that, it probably would be about. Oh, it's too close to home. Okay. Oh, Cypress is JC. Okay. So you go all the way to Cypress College for JC, and you got Long Beach City right there. Yeah, I don't know. Well, where Fresno is dirt cheap in far as the area is concerned. You're right about that. Man, yeah, going to college in Idaho, man, that is probably the whitest state probably in the country, Idaho. That's where all the ex-LAPD moved to when they retired. They moved to Idaho. Oh, you couldn't get in. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it's about paying tuition. Yeah, yeah, they become diploma mills. It was hard to get in, man. When I was a teenager. I mean, you had to apply to a lot of colleges and hope to get in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The houses, yeah, the taxes are off the chain. And, well, you can't have Idaho without the white folks, Yada. You have to go down. You have to go down south. But hell, it's a white country. You can't escape white folks. Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. I think inflation's going to happen, but I think it's going to. I think we're going through another housing bubble from what everybody I hear online. I haven't been into, I haven't really been studying it like or like I was like for in like the early 2000s. I was actually more into it. I was actually keeping up with the charts and all that kind of stuff. So I was actually listening to more of the local stuff like the national politics, local politics, and then the business cycle. So after 2013, I kind of got tired of it and I shifted. So I don't keep up with it as much as I probably should. Like a lot of people are still asking me about the Bitcoin and looking at the charts, and it's like once you get burnt out, it's kind of hard to get back into it. I think what's going to happen is they're going to I think what's going to happen in LA is they're actually going to slowly but surely eliminate cars because the reason that you can't build more housing is because houses come with cars in LA. So the thing is, they don't have enough roads to put all these cars on. So as they start to eliminate cars and put in more self-driving cars, they're actually going to build more structures like they've had a restriction about building behind single family homes or multi-family properties. So they kind of limited the growth of housing. So, but the thing is, now so many people there's such a big demand, and they don't want all the young people to actually move out. They're actually going to start changing it. So they're actually going to get rid of the car because the LA's been based on a car for so long. So eventually they're going to get rid of the people owning cars. It's going to be self-driving cars for the most part, and people are actually going to then they actually can build multiple dwellings on a property like mine. They could build like uh, four uh, four houses if they wanted to put them all next to each other without a yard. They can build about 4 or 5 houses on my property without an issue. And if they want to go up like a story or two, they actually put, make they could actually put at least 8 to 10 condos on my property if they really wanted to. But the thing is, all those things come with cars and garages and stuff like that, which is why they can't do it. The Hyperloop is Hyperloop is a idea they've had for a very long time, for about 50 years, going across the country. So now they have the ability to build it because the digging machines that actually build the tunnels are actually more advanced. Yeah, well, yeah, basically, not only young folks but old folks. 'Cause my sister is in her 50s. Women always want to own their own house, and I told her she's gonna have to move. Well, that's true. Well, London is only second to New York. I think is London more expensive than New York? I think it was either one or two. I think I think it used to be London and then New York. I think San Francisco might be more expensive now. But I think it's London, New York, and San Francisco is probably the most expensive places to live in the world, really. Silver Springs is actually a nice area, but can you afford $600,000, princess? But a princess, you get you a nice little husband that's making 250K and above, and you get your nice little 7 bedroom house. But you're only going to have 2 kids, princess. What do you need a 7 bedroom house for? San Francisco is the first. Okay. Well, all the San Francisco folks are moving down here and making LA. Yeah, LA traffic is awful. There's a lot of people. Silver Springs was big in medical, from what I heard, because I used to a lot of nurses. Yeah. Well, Oakland's being gentrified, from what I hear. It's actually Oakland, Old Town is actually worse. They're trying to push all the black folks out of Oakland. Oh yeah, Georgia's dirt cheap. LA's traffic is much worse than DC. LA traffic is much worse than DC. Walk-in closet. Princess, you aren't shit. Okay, I say that with love. No, no, Oakland used to be a gangster town. It's not that way anymore. Dallas is being gentrified, man. Dallas is not Dallas anymore. From because I got folks. I was actually born in Dallas, and I still got a lot of folks in Dallas. And Dallas is gonna, well, Texas is being gentrified. All of Texas is being gentrified. Walk-in closet. What time is it? And then we go get something to eat. And so, how many people are? I'm gonna tell everybody right now that's listening. Infinity Wars is gonna have spoilers. Weapons free. We're gonna discuss everything from soup to nuts. If you don't want spoilers, don't listen, because it's gonna be weapons free. Yep. Oh yeah. Not just a 10, man. Try the 91, man. 91 is ridiculous. What's going on, Money in the Bank? Rihanna's not gonna spit out 10 kids. We need a lot. We needed to reproduce like 20. You know, start putting some more class into the gene pool. But she's not gonna. She only gonna spit out 2. We can get her produce. She needs to produce 20, but that's probably asking for too much. Hell no, I'm not ready for the new stadium. But it is what it is. It's coming anyway. Oh, can you cook yada? I don't think you can cook yada. And Rihanna wants to be a house, the housewives of the Potomac. And what? Oh, you can. Well, Rihanna, you have those Nigerian African hips. You can bear it. You're built for it. You got them African thighs and African hips. You can do it, girl. Mountains and trees. That sounds a lot like Colorado. Colorado's a place for you, Yada. There's nothing but mountains and trees. Or northern Arizona, which is cheap. Nothing but houses and trees. Every place in the area is high, and inside the ring. In fact, me and my partner, we talked about this back in 2005, like 13 years ago, because outside they used to call it a South Central ring. Everything was high, like twice as high as far as prices were. I said eventually they're gonna come in and try to reclaim the that inner ring, and they have. Okay, Yada. All right, D-Win. Well, hey, it's gonna be weapons free. I'm just letting everybody know. Maybe no, he said at least Rihanna, at least. Well, hell, if it was up to me, we'd have a little Rihanna factory. Okay, all right, Rihanna, we need a boy now. You had two girls, we need a boy. You got to spit out a boy for us. We need a prince. We need a prince. We need a male lineage. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. They've moved out of. Basically, it's not Mexicans. Basically, you think they're Mexicans. There's a lot of Nicaraguans, Guatemalans, El Salvadorians, a lot of them from Central America. Yeah, well, actually, I just woke up because my other hangout ended like 11:30 my time. So I had a good night's sleep. But I'm gonna jump off of here. Let's settle for 11. I heard that. Yeah, not yeah. My grandmother had nine kids, and she had one that didn't make it, so she actually gave birth to 10. I had a little dog, about a dozen. Hey, we'll go for 12. I'll settle for 12. What playoff game is you talking about? Is it actually I want to watch I might watch a little Cleveland. Ten. Yeah, at least 10. You know, Rihanna has good genes, and she has to pass them on. They had five fives. Okay. Yeah, I think they're not ready. I think well, I think the 76ers need more seasoning. They don't have the swagger yet. You see that with Toronto, even though Toronto's the better team over Cleveland, they don't have the swagger, so they're shooting themselves in the foot. You walk it for meditation. All right. Having kids, it depends on your environment. Like my grandmother was a sharecropper, so nine kids actually helped out. Oh, your grandpa had five wives. Okay. So you guys organize that kind of stuff. And from when I'm under, from what I from what I'm hearing is that you take a Nigerian woman and put her in America, she becomes African American overnight. What I'm hearing. Said if you want a Nigerian woman to stay Nigerian, you keep her in Nigeria. Once she sets foot on American soil, she becomes an African American. The Warriors got to. We'll see if the Warriors can get past the Houston. Houston's looking awfully good. The best point guard ever in NBA. That is tough. Um, well, I'm a Laker fan, so I have to say, got to say Magic Johnson. Well, the Pelicans they got the Pelicans got their one. Well, like this, yeah, that's all they're gonna get. Yeah, I didn't think Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul actually wants it because this is his last shot. So I actually picked Houston. Well, Kareem is not a point guard though. If it's a center, Chamberlain is the best center ever to me. So that's just my opinion. What time is it? Yeah, let me jump off of here. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Since he's not going to show up, he's probably going to try to show up on the hangout and try to talk some shit, and I'm gonna have to boot him. Isaiah Thomas, I like Isaiah Thomas, but I don't think he's a close second. I think as far as a point guard, um, uh, the second I would say Oscar Robertson, maybe second. It's kind of hard to say. Best Laker. That's tough. Now that's a tough question because we argue about that all the time. Is it Jerry West? Is it Elgin Baylor? Is it Magic? Is it Kobe? Is it Kareem? Is it Wilt? Hey Rihanna, it's not about you. It's not about you. Sacrifice, Rihanna. Sacrifice. Yeah, I'm getting ready to some chicken tenders. So I'm getting ready to get some chicken tenders. Well, hey, that's the argument. So that is a good argument to see who the best Laker is. Some people say Magic, some people say Kobe, some people say the logo, Jerry West. Yeah, don't be selfish, Rihanna. It's not about you. You're a gene replicator. And well, he's saying that because he's being generous, but you hear him behind closed doors. He's not gonna say that. You need some popcorn, okay? He's one of them. I don't know if he's the greatest, but he's one of them. When you get into that era, it's kind of hard to say who is. Rihanna, it's not about you. It's not about you. Stop being selfish. a bowl of and a bowl of oatmeal for dinner. And I don't think I could never do oatmeal for dinner. Actually, basically, uh, a couple of asada tacos with some fresh pico de gallo and some hot sauce. Basically, that's giving you protein. The calories are low. talk about maybe 300-400 calories. As long as you don't put in the cheese and stuff on it, you're good. Well, anyway, folks, I'll see you guys tonight. And steel cut oats, yeah, well, those are the best. But oh yeah, if you get the right stuff, get the right, you get the fresh pico de gallo and a little hot sauce, man, and it'll fill you up. And actually, protein kills the cravings. And you would a high protein diet. Well, actually, you lose weight a lot faster on a high protein diet, believe it or not, because it's more complex. It's a little harder to digest, and so it kills your appetite. So so and say a moderate diet is like 2,000 calories, basically. In a high protein diet, you're probably eating like between 8 and maybe 1,100. So you're cutting your calories in half. So it seems like it's counterintuitive. But you look at a high protein diet, and make sure you get 30 grams of protein. If you eat at least 100 grams of protein every day, and you do moderate exercise, you probably can lose between 15 and 25 pounds in a month in 30 days. And that's documented because I've done it at least 2 or 3 times. Not near me. The closest one I think I think there is one in Culver City. I think we have a couple of them, but man, I'm in there for the movie, man. Give me senior citizen rate, man. $5.56 for a movie. Let me get in there, man. Get my little. I always go in the evening, man, and sit in the handicap seats when I'm doing nobody around me. I lean back, man. I look at my movie and I bounce. So I'm not in for the full experience. Give me the movie and let me go. No, actually, no. You won't lose muscle doing that with the high protein diet. You're not gonna lose muscle. No, actually, you won't starve. That's the whole thing. You're not gonna starve, um, because it's even though it seems like it's calorie restrictive, it actually works on your hunger mechanism. So in other words, your brain won't detect hunger. So a lot of times when I was eating a high protein diet, my thing wasn't eating too few calories. It was eating enough. You had to keep track of it because you just weren't hungry anymore. So basically, actually look up Tim Ferriss and look up the 4 Hour Body, and he actually has the diet there. And you can, if you want to lose 20 pounds. The only thing is that you have to make sure you drink a lot of water because it will drive a lot of. Actually lose a lot of water. You got to make sure that you drink enough water and eat enough vegetables to actually not be constipated. But and you can't stay on too long because it will actually stress out your. It will actually, if you stay on it too long, it stress out your livers and your kidneys. So the thing is, you have to rotate off it. So like 30 days, 6 weeks at the max, and then rotate off into a normal diet. So, yeah, like a lot of people do it to lose weight. They do high protein, and then they'll go into a vegan diet for 6 weeks, and then rotate back into it, and basically you lose weight. If you're not going to go strict vegetarian. Yep. But anyway, let me get out of here. We go get something to eat, and I got to do some reading because I'm supposed to be doing some reading. I got to. I'm actually gonna do. I'm scanning. I actually cut my book up and scanning in pages of Gold, Dollars, and Power because one, it's a rare book to find. Number two, people don't want to read it, so I'm actually gonna. I've started scanning the book, and I'm actually gonna put that stuff up on Patreon and put that stuff on Patreon because One, a lot of people are actually going to look at it, and plus it's a book study. Since it's a book study, I want to put that on Patreon. That'll probably be next week sometime, and then I actually post the intro here and post a link to the Patreon and that kind of stuff. And so the people that are interested in that kind of game, because it will actually explain a lot of what's going on as far as the financial architecture. Because it basically, I'm gonna use that book as a study for how the global financial architecture actually works. And once you kind of get a gist of how it was, the Bretton Woods system was built, you get an idea of how the finances work, and then they give you an overview of why certain things are done on the globe and why they aren't done on the globe. But anyway, Sheena Crow, what are you doing here, babe? Oh, okay. Oh, I see you, baby. Let's get you out of here. So I'll check you guys later, and